30th September, it is Thunderbirds Day, 60th anniversary of my favourite TV show when it first aired here in the UK with Trapped in the Sky. And to round off ThunderbirdsTember, we're doing the 32 episodes tier list of the original classic Thunderbird series. So, this is all my personal opinion. The categories are FAB, great, good, average, and not for me. Obviously, FAB being the best of the best, my personal favourite episodes, and then not for me. Well, I mean that's quite self-explanatory, isn't it? No of the movies in here that's been done in its own separate video because there's only three of them. So we're starting off with Cry Wolf. Oh no, we'll start off with 30 minutes afternoon. Since I wants to be picked up, I'm going to stick this one in great. This is kind of an episode of two halves. We've got a first half with International Rescue saving a guy in an elevator after he gets involved in this gang plot to blow up some documents with an explosive bracelet. Literally, it is a bracelet with an explosive on it. And then the other half of this episode deals with a Secret Service agent infiltrating this gang, going to a plutonium store with the attempt to blow it up, but obviously things go a little bit sideways, unfortunately for his agent, so he calls up, his boss calls up International Rescue to free him from the plutonium store, and obviously get those explosive bracelets away from the plutonium store before it all blows up. So a very, very good episode. And an interesting premise for an episode, I will say. What we got next? Cry Wolf. I'm going to pop this one in average. Not really a massive fan of this episode. I enjoy parts of it, like Scott chasing the hood on his hoverbike. That's a cool scene. I'm not really a big fan of a slapstick comedy at the end with Scott, I'm going to be honest. The boys as well, Tony and Bobby. Or was it Billy? It is one of the two, but I'm not overly fond of those characters either, especially towards the end of it when they get trapped in a mine by the hood. They get quite annoying, mainly because as an International Rescue don't believe them for pretty obvious reasons, because the last time they called International Rescue, which was on accident, obviously they didn't need rescuing, obviously. So yeah, but I do like I also like some unseen parts of Tracy Island, which I don't think we see, depending on how you watch these episodes, we haven't actually seen before. So that is why Cry Wolf is an average. Not good. It's got some redeeming qualities. But yeah, just I wouldn't put it in not for me because there are parts of it that I actually like. So what have we got next? We have Atlantic Inferno. Now this one, it's not sticking in not for me. It's going all the way to the very top, FAB. This is one of my first Thunderbirds episodes that I remember watching. I watched it on a VHS tape around my grandparents, if any of you remember what a VHS tape is. And yeah, I absolutely love this episode. Great practical effects when that oil rig is completely up in flames and the water, due to the fire, because it's in the Atlantic Ocean, is boiling as well. I also like the idea that whilst Jeff Tracy is away on holiday, Scott is in charge, which makes sense because, well, he's the eldest and is the leader, especially when they're out on rescues with Virgil, Alan, or Gordon, and in some cases John, but he's stuck him in Thunderbird 5 because Jerry Anderson didn't like him. So yeah, one of my favourite episodes, one of the first episodes I watched, a lot of nostalgia for it, and one of my personal favourites, which is why it's going in FAB. What we got next? We got Alias, Mr. Hackenbacker. Again, I'm putting this in average. I don't really like the plot of this film. It's an episode, but well, I mean, Lou Gray said this isn't a TV series, it's a feature film when he first saw Trapped in the Sky. So anyway, getting off topic. I don't like. Yeah, the plot of this one. There's these two hijackers that hijack Skythrust, the new aircraft, which I actually quite like the design of it, and the way to save it from catching fire due to fuel and during fire hazards during an emergency landing is quite cool. But these hijackers hijack Skythrust because there's this fashion designer who's discovered a new material, which allows clothes to be folded up into like a matchstick box. I can't use the other word because I'd get in trouble. So yeah, and they also want to take Skyfrest to the middle of the desert with these two other guys there, but it gets blown up by Virgil. They get blown up by Virgil and Thunderbird to the beginning of at the end of the episode. So yeah, I mean, Lady Penelope's got some cool scenes, and she's one of my favorite characters in the show. So, but she's not really got a lot to do when she's just sat there at gunpoint with all the other people on the aircraft. So yeah. But we also, I think this is the time also the first time we get Brains' actual name, which is Hiram K. Hackenbacker, which is a bit of a mouthful. But now we're moving on to one. I absolutely love this episode. It is incredibly fucking goofy, the premise of it, but I absolutely love this episode. Attack of the Alligators, and I'm sticking it in front of Atlantic Inferno. There we are. I love this episode. Again, another good idea. The fact that these two scientists find a drug called pheromine, and it allows crops and animals to grow larger, thus helping out with the food in the world, which is a very, very good premise. Fortunately, it ends up getting into the swamp where they live, and it causes the alligators to grow absolutely fucking massive, and they absolutely tear down the house that they're in. Again, sounds incredibly fucking goofy. I just absolutely love it. I just absolutely love it. It's so stupid, but it's a really, really fun episode, and I'm glad the villain Culp gets his comeuppance at the end. It is a really, really good episode. Absolutely love it. One of my personal favourites. Another one, at Brink of Disaster. I'm sticking this in great, and that is purely just for the B plot in this episode, which is about these two crooks trying to steal who are part of Mr. Grafton's sort of posse. And they just try and steal Lady Penelope's jewel collection, and it has some just hilarious results and some good lines and back and forth with Penelope and Parker. The A plot with Jeff Tracy being on a monorail, seeing if he wants to invest in it. This is Mr. Grafton's monorail company. It's all automatic, but of course things go wrong with the automation because a helijet crashes into a bridge section, which causes not only the bridge to collapse, but completely fucks up the automatic signals to tell the monotrain to stop. So yeah, the B plot alone, I absolutely love it. And not to mention a load of Fab 1 action at the beginning of this episode where it takes down these two crooks in a car. Right at the very beginning, you see them like there's a fog machine, obviously machine guns at the back, oil slicks, the whole shebang. Just yeah, very, very good B plot with Penelope and Parker. The A plot is good as well. With Jeff Tracy trying to hide the fact that him, Tintin, and Brains are also with him, are part of International Rescue from Grafton, which is nice. What we got next? The Cham Cham. I really like this one as well. I'm gonna stick this one up in great as well. Again, the idea of a computer that is able to just can't remember how it works, but is able to like pick out signals in a song, which is how this military outfit tries to take down the Air Force transporter with high-tech equipment in it, through a song called Dangerous Game, which is a absolute banger of a tune no matter what rendition of it is in. I can see why everyone in this episode likes it, and I like how Alan puts together that whenever this band who's performing this song live, it's when these transporters get shot down, which I'd like that, but they all piece it together through that, and good rescue at the end when Tintin and Penelope are in a out of control cable car going down the Alps, because that's where this hotel is, where they have to go to see about this band, see if there is if they're in it at all, which they're not. But yeah, interesting story. Bit of comedy here with Parker and that assassin who shoves him, who they end up in a snowball at the end of a hill, which is quite funny. So yeah, do like the Cham Cham. City of Fire. This is one of the best episodes of Thunderbirds, but it's not one of my personal favourites. Just because I prefer some other episodes, but I'm putting it over top of great, because this episode really spends a lot of time dealing with this family that are going to be rescued by International Rescue. Spend at least a good chunk of the first half of this episode with them, and also a little bit at Tracy Island with them developing this new cutting gas, which is a lot better than laser beams, but has a detrimental effect that when the gas enters your skin, causes you to faint and you go unconscious, which they have to use to get this family out of this basement when this tower catches on fire, because a driver forgets what the brake pedal is and plows into it, starts a fire, and the whole tower goes up in flames. So yeah, but obviously International Rescue, because it's International Rescue, I might have to abbreviate to IR for the rest of it, which is what I'm going to do. IR gets the job done. So one of the best episodes of Thunderbirds in my opinion, but not one of my personal favourites, which is what FAB is reserved for. What we've got next, Danger at Ocean Deep. I'm sticking this one in average. Yeah, bottom of average. Again, there's an interesting bit where IR have problems with communication, not just with Tracy Islands, but between each other. But you know what's going to happen at the beginning. You kind of can piece together at the beginning of the episode what's going to happen with this ocean liner, because the first one gets blown up. They make a second one, and obviously that gets sent to sea. And so you're just like, so the crew's going to get saved because this ocean liner is going to blow up again because of some fucking ingredient in dog food, and the fuel that is in this ocean liner don't like each other. Very, very basic description of this episode, but yeah, the only thing I like about it is the lack of how IR have to deal with the lack of communication. What we got next? Duchess Assignment. I'm sticking this in good. I like the beginning of this episode set in a casino, and it's obviously a rigged casino. And I like a shootout between Parker and the boss of this casino. That's pretty good. But yeah, it is a little bit goofy. You have a guy in here who's a head of this tech company who has a very, very good fondness for gazelles. Very, very big fondness for gazelles, I should say. And he's absolutely tipping down, which is what you can probably hear because I've got my window open because it's still warm outside. So yeah, this is a good Lady Penelope story. I will say as well. With her and the Duchess of Royston, who is a very sweet character. The puppet very much reminds me of my nana, which I really, really like. So yeah, there's good bits of Duchess Assignments, but I wouldn't put it in great. I do like it, but I wouldn't put it in great. Another one I will put, what we got here, Date of Disaster. Now, I used to really, really like this episode as a kid. I think that's probably because I had a book of it as well. But I don't like it as much as I used to. I find it to be a little bit boring until after the Martian probe rocket gets is in the river or sea. Because it's too heavy for the bridge and the bridge collapses. They use these cranes which don't fucking work, even Brains tells him that, and they're still not listening to him, probably because they think he's insane. Um, yeah, it just takes a while for this episode to get going. But it does do a good job, similar with City of Fire, but not to not as good as a job. You want to see the two astronauts get out of the situation where they're in, so it has got that going for it too. It just takes a while to get going. For this episode. What we've got next? Desperate Intruder. I love the Desperate Intruder because it is very different episode. It doesn't really involve a rescue from IR. Yes, they're involved in it, but that's because Tintin and Brains are followed to a lake by the Hood because he wants treasure at the bottom of this lake with at this underwater temple that Tintin, Brains, and a professor, which I can't remember the name off the top of my head. But yeah, Brains gets buried up to his neck in sand by the Hood. The Hood's very, very threatening in this one because he almost get away with it, but because he's the Hood and he's a good old like classic villain, he's a very old school villain. He always gets comeuppance in the end. So yeah, but I like that. I want to say call it a dogfight between him and Thunderbird 4. He shoots like 2 missiles and then fucking runs away. But yeah, I like the Desperate Intruder. It's yeah, very, very fun episode. I really enjoy it. Another episode that I really, really enjoy, mainly because it deals with the Red Arrows, and I remember going to see the Red Arrow display, which is close to where I live, and this deals with the Red Arrows and them being sabotaged because they are powered by twin rockets, which is a new field. That's a quote from Jeff Tracy in the episode. And there's this foreign military general who is very, very afraid of the Red Arrows. And so he sends the Hood. He hires the Hood to sabotage him with, again, the promise of money and jewels and gold. So yeah, another great episode. I like how, obviously, because the two guys at the end of the episode have to be rescued. They're on top of a really, really high radio tower. Obviously, IR have to do a different way of rescuing these guys, where they send the stuff up for them to rescue themselves, which is a nice plot. But I just love the Red Arrows in this episode. Cool design. I love their launch sequence where the cover comes up and it raises up. Some stuff like that, like these launch sequences, I imagine some people might find very boring. I just don't, because they just look fucking cool. End of the road we've got next. I'm sticking this one in good, just because the fact that Eddie Houseman, the guy that has to be saved near the end of the episode, he knows the Tracy family because he was like a friend of Tintin's, or like side chick of Tintin's, or whatever. They have to save him without showing their faces, which is really, really cool. That's a really good dilemma for him to solve. But apart from that, again, this episode does take a while to get going, because there's this whole subplot with this love triangle between Eddie, Tintin, and Alan, which, I mean, if you like these love triangle things, fine. It's just not personally for me. I do like it when Gordon and Virgil tease him, though, so yeah. Now, next up, we've got the very last episode of this series, Give or Take a Million. Not for me. This is a Christmas episode. I don't like it. It is such a shame that this is the last episode of the series, and that the way the way Thunderbirds kind of ended anyway, because behind the scenes, in order to sell to an American market, Lou Grade, who was the head of, was it AP Films or something? I can't quite remember, but he said it would be easier for him to. He said to Jerry Anderson, it would be easier for him to sell a new series than Thunderbirds that was kind of losing its cultural relevance, I guess you could say. So that's how we got Captain Scarlet. But yeah, I don't remember a lot from this episode. Again, it's a fucking Christmas story. All I remember was these two burglars breaking into a bank. They tie up some guys dressed as Santa, and then we go in this rocket that's sort of Christmas presents at the end to try and escape, but it doesn't fucking work. And as you can probably tell from that short summary, Tracy Island, Tracy family, not really in it that much. So yeah, we have another episode of two halves, Martian Invasion, which I am going to slap in great, and I'll pop it behind. I'll pop it there. I like the beginning of this episode. This is probably the most intricate of the Hood's plans. So he's like this big film executive, and he's on this film set, and to get International Rescue out for another guy he's working for, General X, who wants plans and photos of the International Rescue craft. So to do that, he traps these two actors in a cave by setting off a massive explosive charge. So yeah, he lures them out, he films them, but then obviously Scott realizes because of the automatic camera tech is taken out of action because of Carano, who is controlled by the Hood because he's the Hood's half brother. So that's disabled by Carano at the beginning of the episode. And yeah, the last half of this episode is Thunderbird 1 and Thunderbird 2 and the whole Tracy family trying to track down the Hood and destroy this recording that they've got of all the crafts, which is a really it's a really great premise for a story. And Hood almost succeeds, but unfortunately he chooses an aeroplane at the end, which needs maintenance, and he crashes into General X's house at the end, and that's the last time we see the Hood. So yeah, a great episode. Goes by quickly because it's like an episode of two halves, like the Martian Invasion, which is why I'm stuck it in great. What was that? The Man from MI5. I'm sticking this one in average. Again, it's a very Lady Penelope focused story. I just feel that the plot's a little bit convoluted. It deals with the sub of the bottom of the French Riviera, which can't go off because if they do, the is going to get picked up by the radar, so they need to cause a bit of a ruckus to try and get away, so that they can get away with these plans that they stole from another guy who was part of MI5 on a boat. And this guy from MI5, another guy from MI5 chooses to call International Rescue, but they, has to be done through their agents. In this case, Lady Penelope. But yeah, it's all right. It's an all right episode. Just got a nice bit of Lady Penelope sass in it, I will say. What we got next? Move and You're Dead. This is going in great, and the reason I absolutely love this episode, for those of you who have seen it, it's got a massive race sequence in the middle. I'll stick it near the end of great, and that's one of the reasons I like this episode. I also like that it's members of the Tracy family that are in danger. In this case, it's Alan and Grandma Tracy. And the way they do it, these two guys who, one of them's a driver and the other one's like his pit crew. I'd say. Well, I mean, this race is only like 3 laps, so not much of a pit crew needed. They want Alan Tracy's car because it's got a brand spanking new engine made in it by Brains. Also, obviously a very good car. So they've already got a bomb placed on this bridge that they take Alan and Grandma to, but they also give him this device, and if this device so much as picks up that they have moved, that bomb goes off prematurely. That is, I love that idea. That is a great idea. It's just a shame. Again, it does take a little bit while to get going this episode. I personally love the racing sequence near the middle, which is why I can tolerate this episode quite a bit. And that's why I stuck it in great, purely for that scene and the idea of this bomb and this device. Very, very good idea. Really like. I actually thinking about it, I do like. I think it deserves to be in great. What we got next? Lord Parker's Holiday. This is a Parker-focused story. Again, it's from series 2 of the show, which only lasted 6 episodes. Yeah, 6 episodes. Parker sets up a bingo tournament at this hotel because they're trying to distract the hotel guests from the fact that there's this satellite there's like this dish at the top of a hill at this research station, and it just happens when it gets struck by lightning, it falls off and just happens to be lands on the perfect place on this cliff that it will burn the town to the ground. And it's also made funny. It's also as this character who just says it'll be a great disaster for like all of it, which is very fucking funny. But yeah, good bit of Parker banter in this episode, but not that much to write home about, which is why I'm putting in average, which is a shame because Parker is my favourite character in Thunderbirds. Now we've got Path of Destruction. This is a great episode. Again, one of the first episodes I watched. But I'm not putting in great just because out of the two, I always watch an Atlantic Inferno the most out of all of them. But Path of Destruction certainly lives up to its name. Because the crab logger, the vehicle in this episode, the main vehicle, it just goes through absolutely everything in its path, and almost hits a dam, which obviously that would spell catastrophic disaster for this area because obviously it's a fucking dam which holds water. And the reason this vehicle is out of control is because the 2 pilots that do it get food poisoning because they decide. Because there's 4 guys who go to a restaurant, and this restaurant is one of the filthiest and most disgusting restaurants you will ever see. And the slop that they are given to eat, which is called a special, looks fucking abysmal as well. And the only 2 guys from this crew that don't get sick is one who doesn't go because he's got some stuff to do, and the guy who orders his regular something which is thick and rare and juicy, which is probably fucking steak. Absolutely based restaurant choice there. But the other guys get food poisoning because that is cooked in absolutely disgusting conditions. So yeah, always pay attention to a restaurant's health rating or clean rating, whatever it's called. But yeah, and then the scene where the crab logger falls off that cliff, again, not as good as the practical effects in Atlantic Inferno, but it is very good practical effects. And we got next, Pit of Peril. Now, I used to really like this episode, but then Century 21, they've got Century 2021, they've got who made the anniversary episodes from 10 years ago. They discovered a load of film reels of Thunderbirds of like previous cuts when they were like 20-minute episodes, apart from Trapped in the Sky because I was always 45 minutes. So after watching that, you can really tell that there's 20 minutes just tacked on to this story. But I like the rescue of the recovery vehicles pulling the Sidewinder out of the pit. But yeah, they've done a really, really good job, Century 21, of showing off all these old film reels and all that. It's just a shame that now, after they explained it, there was 20 minutes, I just can't unsee it anymore. It's like when you notice one little thing in an old TV show, or there's like that coffee cup in like, is it Hunger Games or Game of Thrones? And then there's this like Gene guy in The Mandalorian. It's just with stuff like that, when you see it, you can't unsee it anymore, if you know what I mean. Yeah, good episode. I would have put it in great if a few months ago, but yeah, I still do like it though. what we got now? Ricochet. I'm gonna stick this one. I'll stick it in average. The only bit I like in this one is Thunderbird 2 trying to divert that Starlight from hitting that oil refinery at the very, very end. That is a scene from this episode I always constantly rewatched. But the rest of it, I'm not really, really a big fan of. So, yeah. Security Hazard, this is another one that's going in not for me, because this is just a retread of Trapped in the Sky, Sun Probe, and Day of Disaster? Hang on. Trapped in the Sky. Oh no, sorry. Trapped in the Sky, End of the Road, Day of Disaster, and Sun Probe. Just a retread of all 4 episodes in a condensed way, because this kid ends up in the pod of Thunderbird 2, which is why it's called Security Hazard. So, yeah, it's just a clip show. That is all this episode is. Speaking of Sun Probe, I'm going to stick this one in great. I know a lot of people absolutely love this episode, which I'm not saying it's I'm not saying it's bad. I'll stick it. Actually, no, I'll stick it at the top, near the top of great. I do love this episode. I like the fact that after International Rescue do save the day in Thunderbird 3, they get in trouble, and it's relying on Virgil in this radar truck thing to fire their retros as to what Thunderbird 3 had to do with the Sun Probe, because the Sun Probe ends up on a collision course with the Sun. So I love that part. I absolutely just a great bit of the episode. And it's a really, really good one. It's just not one of my personal favourites, and that is what FAB is reserved for. Speaking of FAB tier, Terror in New York City. Just another one that is like, I think this one is, along with another one, is like quintessential Thunderbirds. Thunderbird 2 gets shot down by the US Sentinel in this. The Empire State Building gets knocked down. Well, not knocked down. It does, but ends up getting destroyed. And there's danger that the 2 guys under the Empire State Building in this underground river there is a hint that Thunderbird 4 might not make it to them, but obviously because it's IR, they do. But yeah, the scene where Thunderbird 2 gets shot down, probably one of the most iconic scenes from Thunderbirds. Like the other one is probably from Trapped in the Sky, but we'll get to that when we talk about that episode. I love Terror in New York City, and I don't think I'm alone. It is one of the best Thunderbirds episodes, and the fact that they have to go an episode without the use of Thunderbird 2 as well, and Thunderbird 4 has to make it to New York on its own, with obviously the help from the Sentinel after they do shoot down Thunderbird 2. That is a great premise as well. So yeah, great episode, Terror in New York City. One of the best. The Imposters. Never liked this one as a kid because I found it boring, because International Rescue don't have a whole lot to do because they have to hide from the world because, well, there's imposters and they steal some important military documents. But I like this episode now, probably because I now have a decent attention span and I like a good bit of story. Now I have more of a fine palette now that I'm 26. So yeah. Not really. Yeah, I like Jeremiah, Agent 47. Really do like Jeremiah in this episode. He's a great character. Only here for one episode, but he's brilliant. Great accent as well. But yeah, Lady Penelope, she's a bit of a princess in this episode when her dress gets completely ruined and her outfit gets ruined at the end. She's a bit of a princess about that. But yeah, I enjoy this episode a lot more now. which is why I'm sticking it in good. Still not the best. It is an interesting premise. I don't think it's executed. Executed well, but not as best as they could have done. What we got next? The Uninvited. This one, again, one of my personal favourites, so it is going up in FAB. And once again, it deals with a Thunderbird craft getting shot down, in this case, Scott Tracy in Thunderbird 1. But it also deals, also has to do with these pyramids, not pyramids of Giza, the Lost Pyramid of Commandades. I think that's how you say it. Which houses these people known as the zombies. I actually don't know what they are, like, because they're not an alien race. They're not. I don't know if they're like a cult or something, but those are the zombies are what shoot down Thunderbird 1. And I know there's probably a Century 21 comic out there that explains a little bit more about them. But there's not really there's not a lot of lore about these guys. I'd love to know a little bit more about them. But it deals with Egypt. In Egypt, I do like a good bit of Egyptian mythology and the pyramids as a whole. I do like a good bit of history. So yeah, one of my personal favourite episodes. Uninvited, love it. And also a good shootout between Scott and what's his name, Lindsay. Very good shootout in the pyramid. Vault of Death, very, 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 very good episode. This one's going in great. It is a great Parker episode because we do get to learn a little bit about his backstory when he was in prison with light fingered Fred. So it's a lot of fun. But yeah, the rescue with getting this guy out of the vault in the Bank of London, not necessarily the best. Much prefer the stuff with Parker and Penelope in this episode, which is the best thing about this episode because again, my two of my favorite characters in this show. Parker is my favorite character in this show. Yeah, great episode, Vault of Death. Love it a lot. Operation Crash Dive, another great episode, which deals with the Fire Flash being sabotaged. I'm gonna stick this one. I'll stick this ahead of Sun Probe, I think. Yeah. I love the Fire Flash. It's probably my favorite guest vehicle in Thunderbirds. I just love the design of it. So another episode dedicated to it. Fine by me. I like that Captain Hansen comes back, who was the captain in Trapped in the Sky. Nice that he comes back, and that Tracy, the International Rescue, help London Airport with trying to establish what happens with Fire Flash here. So yeah, really enjoy this episode. It's a good one. All right, the last few episodes here we have Perils of Penelope. Which is next. Perils of Penelope. Again, one of those episodes that, if it wants to go there, I didn't really like that much as a kid, because again, not a lot of action in this episode. But I'm going to stick this one over top of good. I like, obviously it deals, well, at the beginning we see the Sun Probe launch again, and obviously we find out that the rocket fuel from it's made by water, which is obviously quite a big deal in this universe. So there's this Dr. Godber, wants the formula for this because it would make him the richest man in the world, to quote him. So in order to try and get that from... Is it Sir Jeremy? I want to say Sir Jeremy and Professor Borinder. He obviously stops the monorail in the middle of the Andabad Tunnel. Can't remember where it is in the world. And yeah, it's up to Gordon and Virgil to try and find them in this tunnel. Because obviously International Rescue, they're involved in this during the whole time. Yeah, it's a good shootout as well between Godber and Gordon. I really, really like it. There's never mind. It's a good shootout between those two. But yeah, if I was younger, probably ranking average, or possibly not for me. So yeah, what we got next? The Mighty Atom. I'm sticking this one in. I'll, I'll stick it in good. Yeah, that one's gonna go in good. I like the fact that Hood, he destroys one facility at the beginning of this episode when he destroys the second attempt at this one, or tries to. But so the Mighty Atom is this little mouse that has a camera inside it. So obviously it's a radio controlled mouse. So he does that, takes a few pictures, and says, "Why don't I just cause a disaster to get international rescue when I can shoot some of their, I can, take some photos of their craft as well whilst I'm at it," which is what he does. But he fails at it because this mouse decides to take photos of Lady Penelope. So because it behaves like a mouse, so it doesn't run away, which they demonstrate doing earlier in the episode. But yeah, I like that Lady Penelope's desperate to go on a rescue because she's never been on one at this time in the at this time of the series. So she goes on one. I just wish there's a little bit more back and forth between Parker and Carano, because we get a little bit of that near the beginning of this episode. I wish there was a little bit more. That would have been quite funny. But yeah, but now, this is not by accident. The first episode, Trapped in the Sky. Where the fuck do you think this one's going? It's going all the way to the top of this tier list. But it's not. I prefer Terror in New York City. But Trapped in the Sky, one of the best TV pilots, one of the first episodes of a show ever. This sets up the series so well. Sets up the Hood well. Sets up International Rescue well. Sets up the structure of how this series is going to go, barring a few episodes which are quite different to what we usually get. But yeah, just the sequence of Fireflash coming down and landing on the elevator cars, one of, if not the most iconic scene from this show. It's just incredible. If this pilot had not gone down so well, wouldn't have Thunderbirds the way it is now. Definitely would not. And it was made for 45 minutes. It was so good. Lou Grade said, forget the 20 minutes. All episodes need to be 45 minutes. I think that just shows how good this episode is. It's structured well, just sets up everything so well. One of the best pilots for a TV show, in my personal opinion. So yeah, that is the tier list. I think looking at it, you can definitely see as this series goes on, suddenly loses its edge, because like there's quite a few. Well, a lot of series are 2 episodes, even though that's only 6 episodes down here, and some of the later episodes are down here, but quite a good fucking few in Fab and Great. And even some of these in Good, you could probably make an argument these could be in Great as well. So yeah, that is the end of ThunderbirdsTember. I've really enjoyed it. I love talking about this show. Because again, my favourite show of all time. So that is the end. If you like this video, feel free to like it. Dislike if you disliked it. And if you like this video, check out some other content on this channel. Feel free to check out the rest of ThunderbirdsTember as well. And if you like this, check out some other content. And if you like my other content, make sure you turn my red subscribe button to grey. I shall see you all in the next one. Goodbye.